Has the NBA now turned against LeBron? A bombshell was dropped about Westbrook disliking him, and even Stephen A. came after the King on Melo's show.
I don't like his not a little bit. He's one way publicly, he's another way privately.
All while the NBA celebrates opening night and a return to its glory days with Michael Jordan on the mic.
When I stepped up to shoot the free throw, it's the most nervous I've been in years.
Stop it.
In years.
Stop it. Come on.
I'm Doug Kezirian. This is Hard Pass, also available in podcasts. Honestly, we have wild news and storylines to address, and it's really remarkable what's transpiring right now with LeBron James. You'll hear all of Stephen A's criticism that seems to expose a lot about LeBron and the inner workings of his power and how Russell Westbrook felt he got the short end of that as well. But I want to begin with the action surrounding opening night, because for so long, Christmas Day was considered the unofficial start of the NBA season. But this year, actual opening night created all sorts of buzz, and for the most part, for all the right reasons. It started with the league's return to NBC, and that means the music of round ball rock, which was such a staple for so many of us fans in the 1990s.
This is the NBA on NBC.
Aside from this Pavlovian musical trigger that's kind of fostering memories of yesteryear, I felt NBC nailed the entire presentation and production. And in many ways, it was different and better than both TNT and ESPN. First off, they added Michael Jordan, the GOAT, right? Who's still such a compelling figure. And even the smallest window into his personal life or soundbite is captivating. For example, Mike Tirico asked MJ when he last touched a basketball, and he said it had been forever. And then when pressed on it, he said, yeah, recently when I rented a house at the Ryder Cup, the owner of the house wanted to take some pictures and then asked me to shoot a free throw in front of his grandkids.
When I stepped up to shoot the free throw, it's the most nervous I've been in years.
Stop it.
In years.
Stop it. Come on.
And reason being is those kids heard the stories from the parents about what I did 30 years ago.
Right.
So their expectation is 30 years prior, and I haven't touched the basketball.
I hope you switched it.
Absolutely.
Even a small, mundane tidbit still gets us hanging on every word of Jordan. Overall, NBC's broadcast felt big, which is something that even the NBA Finals lacked on ABC. That's what was so special about those 90s broadcasts, and they brought it back, such as things like starting lineups announced straight from inside the arena. And NBC also nailed the main open, which captured how it all wanted to incorporate the nostalgia.
All right, Rod. When I say the NBA on NBC, what memories come to mind?
I have none, zero. 1990s?
Oh, I need a memory from there.
I have no idea.
I wasn't old enough.
I wasn't alive, man.
Like, yeah, you're joking, right? I was like, no.
Michael Jordan.
You really want to know that, right? The era that I played, you got a picture painted of authenticity, just genuine love for the game.
NBC then followed with a montage of 90s players, all the all-stars. You got it, Ewing, Jordan, you name it. And then also the current players, the modern day ones. Let us know in the comments section. Did you like how NBC handled all the production? What was your favorite part? Was it the round ball rock? Was it MJ's involvement? Join the conversation in the comments section. So after all the pregame, it was time for actual basketball, and the game certainly delivered, specifically game one of the doubleheader. Truly awesome showdown. You had the defending champion Oklahoma City Thunder getting their rings, raising the banner. No Jalen Williams, though, But this one went to double overtime against the new-look Houston Rockets, who added Kevin Durant in the offseason. This game featured some great highlights. Down the stretch, SGA, the reigning MVP, frankly went into MVP mode, rallying the Thunder. Again, no J-Dub, but also tied at the end of the first overtime. Kevin Durant did try calling timeout. That should have been a technical foul. Refs bail him out by not acknowledging it. However, final seconds of the second OT, Thunder down one. Gilgeous-Alexander draws a foul on Durant. The refs do acknowledge that, and then he hits both free throws to win the game. And then in game 2 of the doubleheader, Warriors were only up 1 at the break, but flipped the switch in the second half, particularly the third quarter. Remember, Golden State went on a run last year midseason after acquiring Jimmy Butler. And so now with this convincing win over the Lakers, they're now 28-8 when Butler, Steph Curry, and Draymond Green all play. That's a 64-win pace for a full regular season. So health is going to be a key one there, but they could be a legitimate contender. Now on the loss, Luka was ridiculous with his numbers, but the Lakers still missed the injured LeBron, and the defense still has issues. And the memorable night induced all sorts of reaction, as you would imagine, so we now have a heat check. This one was great. The famous Chris Webber timeout in the championship game against North Carolina, where they put Katie's face on it, and obviously should have had a technical. And then this was pretty straightforward. So Michael Jordan will have weekly topics on NBC, and next week's topic is load management. He about start ripping them boys. Obviously, that era, not a big fan of the load management. And Josiah Johnson, who never misses with this stuff. MJ, after doing 2 minutes of work for NBA on NBC, and that's really what it was. It was just a sit down, he talked, and that was his quote-unquote analysis and making fun of it all. Social media never fails, right? Overall, it was a banner night for the league, and the main reason NBC's entire execution felt special and celebratory is because it was. The TNT crew would often criticize players, and yes, Barkley's funny, but it gets tired after a while, and ESPN often had TMZ-type conversations rather than discussing actual basketball. Now, in fairness, the masses do consume that type of nonsense or gossip, which brings us to this next story that has sadly become a big deal, although in fairness, I think it's actually really interesting, all things considered. Stephen A. Smith, one of the faces of ESPN, appeared on Carmelo Anthony's podcast and explained his issues with LeBron.
Let me get to LeBron. I don't like his not a little bit. You do not understand the links this man would go to. This dates back more than a decade. I believe he's one way publicly, he's another way privately. You know, he might not be interviewed and he might not be quoted, but the things he says and the things he has said to people, it's gotten back to me. The things that he's tried to do, if it were up to him, I wouldn't be where I am today. It's some low.
Again, Melo, one of LeBron's friends, supposedly just sat there and did not intervene to defend his good friend, right? This rift between Stephen A. and LeBron has been brewing for a very long time because, frankly, First Take has benefited from LeBron. Skip Bayless made a name for himself for criticizing LeBron in a bizarre way over and over again, and for whatever reason, that Jerry Springer-type nonsense drew ratings. The debate show concept was born, but I'm of the belief that it occurred on the back of LeBron. He was the single most polarizing athlete in the world, and that moved the needle. This was sports talk radio brought to TV, and that was necessary, fresh content for the networks because all the content that was on TV was now sort of useless because consumers were getting it on their phone, the news, highlights, you name it. So the fresh content needed to be opinion. Now you fast forward to LeBron confronting Stephen A. at a Lakers game about comments he made about Bronny shamelessly being on the Lakers roster.
The day that he rolled up on me courtside, it was the day my contract was announced, that I had stayed with ESPN. Go back and look at the camera angles. I arrived there in the first quarter. He rolled up on me in the third quarter. This is 2025. We got technology everywhere. TNT is a nationally televised game. How is it we got one angle and the only angle you see was of him and his face, but you see the back of my peanut head?
I'll ask you straight up. Do you think you felt set up in that moment?
Damn right. Damn right I did.
You thought he had somebody out there too?
Damn right that did.
Okay.
Damn right. That's how I feel.
Okay.
But no big deal. No problem. Because I go on the air the next day and I'm like, that's a dad reacting to his son.
But it did not just end there. LeBron ratcheted up the heat, and that is where Stephen A. got offended.
The last straw was not him rolling up on me on courtside. If you sat up there and said, yo, LeBron pissed off, he needs to talk to you man to man, and I was in New York, what would I do? I'd be on the next plane to LA. And then you gonna turn around and come on ESPN with Pat McAfee? You gonna come on my channel on a show that comes on after me just to dog me? Nah. And what you dogging me about? Be a man. Yo, I don't like him either. Cool. Nah, I have to protect my family. That's the narrative you playing? Yo, bro, when I tell y'all, you can't measure the level of how pissed off I have been over that. There is no level of disrespect that has ever been accorded to me in my life more so than what he did. To try to paint me as somebody who would attack somebody's family, knowing I've never done it, I can't tell you how offensive I find that.
Make no mistake, Stephen A's celebrity status has gone up even higher with this LeBron involvement and rift. But Stephen A also has a point. LeBron has been pretty petty and defensive with this entire Bronny thing, and then hid behind his celebrity status and tried to use his juice and influence rather than just come clean with face-to-face with Stephen A with a conversation. Now, Stephen A has every right to be upset in my eyes, accused of attacking someone's family, while the truth is LeBron knows he got Bronny on the Lakers and thought he could dodge the scrutiny. The fact that he had the Griffies in the opener, last year's season opener, was ridiculous and an insult to any sports fan. But LeBron did not like the heat he was catching and was pushing back because he's always been able to cajole situations and use his power and influence. But Stephen A has his own juice, not as much as LeBron, but pretty heavy, and fought back. Now, coincidentally, all of this has surfaced while a different storyline was developing that also was kind of anti-LeBron. So it's a perfect storm, or Murphy's Law, which is perhaps why LeBron was just so stoic the entire game on the bench. Again, street clothes because he's hurt, but not even clapping, not even interacting with the teammates. Very strange, very out of character too. That's because the Ringers, Yaron Weitzman, released portions of his book that exposed a rift between Russell Westbrook and LeBron while they were Lakers teammates a couple years ago. Specifically, Westbrook got sick of LeBron, calling him fake, because he felt LeBron was saying one thing to the media and doing something completely opposite behind the scenes, like trying to trade Westbrook for Kyrie. Again, LeBron wielding his power, but keeping a forward-facing facade. There's also one example where movie star Will Smith visited the team on an off day in the Lakers practice facility. Westbrook felt he observed LeBron be fake to the actor when interacting. That's on top of other examples, like LeBron claiming The Godfather is his favorite movie of all time, but then can never quote a line off the top of his head, or saying he predicted Kobe's 81-point game, which, again, LeBron's been in a fishbowl for his entire adult life. He's going to catch a lot of heat as opposed to the pre-internet era like Jordan. But this has all been gasoline on the fire for those LeBron critics. The bottom line is all huge celebrities have power and influence and often do what they can get away with. It's always been the case since the beginning of time. Stephen A probably does it at ESPN. But LeBron has been checked now by an authentic and purist like Westbrook, and then also someone like Stephen A, who's comfortable being uncomfortable, which I respect. What fascinates me is how LeBron's going to handle this moving forward, because remember, he's playing on a last year of a deal for the first time in his career. Lakers don't want him after this season. And he's been fragile at times with major storylines. His behavior on the bench against the Warriors in the loss does mean he could maybe spiral negatively. It's just one game, but LeBron's track record is not the most stable when it comes to this. Let me know your thoughts. What do you make of all this LeBron backlash? Join the conversation. Please comment and let us know your thoughts. Would love to hear it.